Good morning. Hi, this is Frank Messina, and this is the April 16, 2024 meeting of the Chatham Historical Commission. Just some messages to read before we start. This meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording the meeting, please notify the chairman. Seeing none. Pursuant to Governor Healy's March 29, 2023 signing of the Acts of 2023, extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law 30A20, until March 31st, 2025, this meeting of the Chatham Historical Commission is being conducted in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately address the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to the meeting while in progress may do so by calling the phone number 1-508-945-4410, conference ID 439-061-355 #, or join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link posted on the agenda. While this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Chatham TV, despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide for real-time access. We will post the record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. Okay. I hear that the legislature is considering extending the, not just for COVID, but just making it that meetings can be conducted in live and as well as online, so it's kind of interesting. Okay, the first act is a roll call. See who's here. Mr. Lear?
Present.
Ms. Brodingame?
Here.
Mr. Aikman is absent. Stephanie Hamilton?
Here.
Sandy Porter? Sandy's absent. Janet Tennyson?
Here.
Robert Stevenson?
Here.
Nancy Barr is absent, and the chair is here. We have a quorum. So Bob, you will act as a voting member?
Okay.
Okay. As Don and Sandy, regular members are absent. The way the law works, the alternate can participate and vote when a regular member is not present. All right, it's good to be back. First act we have is the minutes. You have the minutes of April 2nd, 2024. Another record long meeting. Any?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Stephen, were you in charge of that meeting?
I was going to say that
This is, yeah, this is,
I'm not listed as present, I'm not listed as absent.
Uh-oh. Yeah, Mr.
I
Burlingame?
have, it was, Bob Lear was remote, and Stephen Burlingame.
Was not here.
Yeah, Bob was remote, Nancy was remote, and Mr. Burlingame was
Absent.
acting chair. You got that, Annie?
I have it marked that you were absent at the last meeting. Is that incorrect?
I was absent at the last meeting.
Okay, so I just need to mark you as absent. I apologize.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so it's a correct as is, except that
No.
he was
Just
absent.
a-
Okay, great, I was confusing. All right, we got it? Any other comments or questions? Motion to
Move to accept the meetings of April 9th.
I'll second.
Okay, second, please?
I did.
Okay,
Steph.
great.
Okay.
All right, we'll do a quick roll call. Bob,
Yes.
Steve,
I was not here.
and not here. Stephanie,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Okay. All right, that was short and sweet. Okay, we don't have a long agenda, not too many business items to discuss, but we have 2 applications and effectively 3 hearings. Why don't we get right to it? The first one is application 24010, 255 Old Harbor Road. A friend of ours, 255, been here a number of times, and looks like they're finally getting to a point of completing it. Is that what's happening, Mr. Litchfield?
Good morning,
Introduce yourself
Mr. Chairman.
formally.
Bill Litchfield here on behalf of the Cook family, which owns the property with which you are familiar, and is part of their ongoing restoration of what is called the Elisha Burse House. They would like to make some further progress in that regard. I don't know that historic preservation is ever completed by its nature. I think it continues indefinitely. But those of you who were steadfast enough to attend the site visit on Friday morning, which was a little damp, got a sense of what's involved. The property's been in front of you in the past. You, several years ago, approved some replacement windows. The Cook family would now like to connect the south and east side porches. Beyond that, install period rail and baluster system on the side porch with 4x4 posts. Install square posts from the deck to the underside of the porch ceiling and so forth. Put on new decking, install 16 new windows, which will match those approved by you in 2020, and very positively remove the remaining aluminum siding from the east and south sides of the house, replace with cedar clapboards, and also remove the vinyl siding. So I think you've already found the structure to be historic. We expect you might ratify that decision, but in light of what is proposed, we would ask that you not impose a demolition delay.
Okay, well, why don't we just quickly address the issue or reaffirm the historical significance? Bob?
I move that the Chatham Historical Commission reaffirms its prior determinations that the house is historically significant.
Second.
Second, okay. No other discussion on historical significance. We'll do a quick roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay. We'll just open up to the members. Anybody have any other comments or questions or?
I just have a brief question. I guess it's regarding the plans. First is that you need a large microscope to read the date down at the bottom, but I do believe it's February 22nd, 2022, which leads me to think that this is basically the same thing that we approved before with that little piece drawn in at the corner of the porch.
Well, I don't know what you approved before, but I assume that, yes, I know the corner porch is additional.
Okay. With that, I have no other questions.
No questions.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Steve, we had something?
Nope.
Okay, I saw your light on, that's why I asked. Okay, yeah, again, I was looking at, the barn is still there. And I forget what we approved when we approved the barn. Was it demolition or what? I forget. I'm getting,
Well, today's application is, as indicated, for the things that I outlined. Insofar as I know, we're not talking about the barn.
No, we're not. I just want,
The barn,
The demolition of the barn was approved in 2005.
2005.
it did occur. Okay, so, all right. I visited the property yesterday and I was walking around and I was just trying to recall, what we had in the thing. So hopefully, is this gonna wrap it up, you think, in terms of what they're planning to do and?
Well, as I indicated, there's an ongoing restoration of the property. There may be some further changes, alterations, and if they are and they involve demolition, we'll come back to you.
All right. Again, it was always weird to me that way, that the porch, separated like that, but I think it's very good, and I wholeheartedly approve, and hopefully we'll get this work done. Thank you very much. Okay, Bob, I think we have consensus.
Chatham Historical Commission also finds that the proposed work to be done dated February 22nd, 2022 will not materially diminish the historic significance of the structure, and therefore the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
Any,
Second.
okay, any comments? Any member of the public wish to speak for or against the application? Seeing none? Okay, well, I guess we can proceed with a roll call.
Frank,
Yes.
gentleman over here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Apologize. Could you come up to the podium, please? Introduce yourself.
Brad Cody, 247 Old Harbor Road, owner of the house directly behind this. The original notice for today indicated some partial or demolition of a barn. I've heard no discussion of that, so I'd like to further better understand that.
Demolition of the what, sir?
Demolition of the barn. There was the notice that I received in the mail had indicated a potential or partial demolition of the barn. My understanding, this conversation of the deck expansion was slated for the ZBA for next week. So I would like to just better understand what, if anything, is happening to the barn.
Can
On
you
the property.
clarify that, if at all, Annie or Bill, with the notice?
There's nothing in the application that I filed in regard to the barn.
Well, you're referring to the notice, sir.
Yeah, the notice that was sent to all the abutters.
The abutter notification says that it is for a partial demolishment, which is any work that involves any demolishment of historic materials is considered a partial demolishment. The barn had previously been heard in 2005 by this commission, and they had approved the demolition at that time. It's not part of the current application.
Okay, so I guess following up with your question, when exactly is that going to take place? If that was approved for in 2005,
The question,
it's
if
now-
I may rephrase it, your question is, when is the demolition of the barn going to happen?
yeah, if
Well,
you guys
that's-
approved it in 2005, it's 2024.
Yeah,
And now they're on front of looking to do something like this.
Yeah, the
How long
barn,
is this going to take place?
to my, and then Mr. Litchfield, I'm sure will correct me, I'm sure the permission to demolish the barn is expired. You know, there's only so many years, 2 years, I guess, after we determine. So the barn is not part of this application. The barn is there. They're not asking permission in this application to demolish the barn. So the
Okay.
barn is there, and if the applicant wants to, your neighbor wants to demolish the barn, they have to come back before us and ask permission.
Okay.
Okay? You concur, Mr. Litchfield? Yeah. Oh, come on. Thank you.
All right,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, I think that we're at the point of a roll call then, if there's no other further comments. Bob,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Steph,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you
Litchfield.
very much.
Appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, I was confused with the barn too. I saw that on the drawings, and I also, when I visited, I said, gee, I thought we had voted to demolish it. But then again, just for your information, as we indicated, after an application is approved by the Historical Commission, I think it's 2 years, and if they don't act in 2 years, they have to come back to us. Okay?
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. It's nice to see members of the audience. Okay, the next application we have is 24011. Annie, is that wrong? It says 2401 and 23011, so that's our agenda. The application is...
It should be 24011.
Yeah, okay, so it's 2401, that's a little typo there. Okay, and this is 89 Water Street, to be heard in accordance with Chapter 158, as well as the potential Cape Cod Commission Regional Policy Review, as this is part of the National Register District, euphemously called the Old Village. Okay, hold on here 1 second. This is a beautiful home, 1818, I believe it goes back to.
1818.
Yeah, and I know it's been before us in the past, and so why don't you proceed, introduce yourself, and then let us know what's happening.
Paul Muldoon here from SV Design, representing the Seymour family and their property at 89 Water Street. You're correct, we have been before you in the past, at least once under my guidance back in 2020, where the western L, or the kitchen L, was renovated. The Barzilla Hardy House, built in 1818, it's a 4-bay, 3/4 cape in the main block and included a rear L originally off the back. The two westerly facing wings are more modernly built. One again renovated substantially in 2020, and the other was built in, I think, the 80s. Around the early 2000s, the house was raised up and a full concrete foundation with brick veneer was placed as well. The material of the existing home, it sits on, very proudly on this generally raised portion of land. It has a brick retaining wall in front and some just quintessential Cape Cod picket fence in front. The house itself sits on that brick veneer foundation, sidewall cedar shingles as you'd expect, cedar roof as you might expect in this general area, white painted trim, white painted window casings, and generally a 9/6 window patterning. Our addition is to expand the roof height of the rear L, renovate some windows through that back section, and then place an addition off the easterly side. The second floor of the existing has a ceiling height of 6'2", and with a growing family, it becomes problematic to use the space. Likewise, the stairs going up to that section are a rise of 10 inches and a tread of 6. So they're straight up. Our addition is to help mitigate that challenge of getting up to the second floor. So we're bumping out about 8 feet on this western side, and that'll house our new stair as well as start to create the architecture and composition to mimic the existing structure. Can we go to sheet H1.3, please? Thank you. So here on the top part of the sheet, we're looking at the east elevation, and again, that very stately front block with the gable end, 2 windows up with smaller windows flanking and 2 windows low, and then the backside engaging a shed dormer. Well, we looked at this and said it's beautiful, it's historic, it's really what the house is all about. So mimicking that in our new addition, that 8-foot bump out by 22-foot 7.5, is taking those proportions and that sort of architectural detailing, aligning the eaves, using a similar window pattern, and adorning it with shed dormers to connect the spaces from front to back. The center section here, the middle L, you can see we've raised that roof up, so we've got, we'll call it a normal head height window and a code compliant ceiling height in that space. The ridge height in that section goes up about 2'8". If we can go to 1.2, please. On the back side, as you can see on the top existing, we have the main block that has that shed dormer off the back. Our new proposed down bottom, again, is mimicking that architecture and pulling that structure of the main gable and the shed backward. Now we're sitting over the existing L that was built in the 70s or 80s. So we're taking some of that roof line away. The rest of the architecture on that rear L stays where it is. The bay window stays. The roof line as is to remain. And one more up, please. And from the sort of the insider view, this is where the shape of the structure creates that outdoor living room between the kitchen and between this first floor bedroom. On the left-hand side, we have that vertical wall of the existing L and that shed dormer that stretches backward. So we can see the translation of our new gable end stretching through into that section, and then the mimicked shed dormer and new windowing happens just below that center section. The gable ends on those projections of the wings remain. We're adjusting some windows and are proposed on the left-hand side. The right-hand side, which was recently renovated, stays where it is. Materials themselves are meant to match exactly. You know, they will be new windows, but with white painted trim, white painted trim details around the roof lines, wood roof shingles, wood sidewall shingles as well. Any new foundations will have a brick veneer to make sure that it is harmonious with the original intent. We did discuss some alternatives. We looked at expanding the center section to connect the rear wing to the front wing more substantially. The intent is really to mimic the existing architecture as much as we can and minimize the new footprint. The new footprint being going easterly on the back side of the house, away from the public view, felt like it was the right solution here, and minimizing the change in the first floor frame. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
How much, how big a footprint are you,
181 square feet of new footprint.
do you have to go to zoning?
Nope, we are zoning compliant. So that's about 8 foot deep and about that 22 and change wide.
I guess, maybe I missed it. Do you show a site plan?
There is a site plan in the package.
Okay.
If you need an extra, I have one.
Is it a small 8.5 by 11?
8.5 by 11.
I just wanted to see one question.
It's up on the screen.
It's in the back?
Going out on-
Yeah, probably the last one, last page. It's always the last page, or next to last. I guess I don't have it. That's why. Thanks. My package seemed to be missing it, or I just
My
can't find it.
apologies.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. All right, before, other members, I have it, yeah, thank you. Well, first issue, we can just probably dispense with very quickly, and that's the issue, oh, it's right in front of me, of historically significant. And there's no question about it, I don't think, and we need just to affirm it. I noticed the first time the house was surveyed in 1976, so certainly he's had a lot of history. You know, I was looking at the 1976 Form B, somebody talked about a bowed roof. There's no bowed roof anymore.
There's no bowed roof.
Okay, told you about history. Okay. Robert, can you deal with the historical element?
Yep, I move the Chatham Historical Commission finds that the building located at 89 Water Street is historically significant and reaffirms that finding. And in addition, it is listed in the National Register Historic District as a contributing structure.
I'll second.
Great. Any other discussion? Okay. Yes.
Just a comment. All of the previous work has been done very, very nicely. And I fully expect the addition to be the same. But I want to congratulate you and the owners that the consideration of the existing old house being replicated in your addition and considered so much is impressive to me. So many additions to old houses are just modern additions. This, of course, being modern, but how the way that it replicates the existing, I think is excellent. I appreciate your work on it.
Okay,
Thanks.
let's address the issue of historical significance. Yes?
No, I thought we passed historic.
No, we didn't. We didn't vote on it yet. Any comments on historical significance? No, none? We'll take a roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes,
Janet?
Yes,
Robert?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Okay. Now the issue, any questions relative to the application? I apologize.
I don't have a question. I just wanted to say thank you. Having the existing as the same page as the proposal is so helpful.
Yeah, SV usually gets at least a B plus on their applications. They learned the way to do it, yes.
no, I think it's great because the streetscape really will not change with what you're
Unchanged.
doing. And I'm sure the Aikmans across the street will appreciate that. But no, I think it's a very nice plan.
Thank you. And Mr. Burlingame, to expound on your comments, the same contractor that did the first one, Chris Billick, will do the second project. and he is on top of his game with regards to historic sensitivity and significance. The house itself has been lovingly taken care of with the Seymour ownership. They love the property, they love the house. This is really the second generation, or maybe third generation now, coming into the home and just wanting to maintain it and get it up to a standard where it can be used as much as possible.
That's great.
Anybody else? Bob?
Oh,
Robert, any other comments?
yeah,
Go ahead.
I just want to thank you. What a wonderful job that you've done.
Thank you.
I hope you counsel other people that come before us. I do have a question. This is not a negative.
Yes.
I think you may have answered it on the site visit, but I'm still a little confused on it. On the west elevation, you moved the door,
Yes.
and I'm just curious why you'd want the two doors next to each other. I'm assuming that the steps coming down from the upper floor would be to the left side for me.
We've pushed the stairs to the eastern side as much as possible, so it's really more sitting in the new addition than the main part of the house, though it is a straight run. The current door location sits right behind the existing stair, and it's awfully awkward. It creates this small nook. Relocating the door to its proposed location really helps the floor plan flow far much better. That center space is a walkthrough. It's not incredibly wide. So it's really, how do we get from the front half of the house to the back half of the house and still have some sort of furniture arrangement that works well from the interior?
Yeah. And is it a slider?
Yes.
It is a slider.
Similar to the ones that are in the kitchen section.
Bob, any questions?
No.
I have a, just to address something, Steve, you said, and that was my concern with this application. I think you did a good job. When historic properties exist, okay, and the way historic older homes grew, they grew by need, which means there wasn't a big addition. They just needed a bedroom and put it in a bedroom. And that's one of the charms of the old village, is the fact that the homes are, by nature, the scale, small, and they were allowed to grow just by need. And I understand, the need, but I'll be honest with you, when I looked at the east elevation and I saw what you've done and your comment mimicking, that's the worst thing you can do in historic preservation is mimic, okay? What you want to do is you want to separate the historical elements from the modern elements. And I know the need, I know we're talking to the neighbors, and yeah, all right, it's good, and but I'll be honest with you, I have problems with that, because now the historic house is gone, okay? Now we have a new home, it's much larger, it's wonderful, and I can agree, but from a preservation point of view, we've lost the old home.
But do we want somebody living in it, or do we want to just look at it?
That you can live in it, but not live in it with this much space, okay?
Maybe.
And that's the issue, especially when we're dealing with, a very historic home. I'm going to support it, but, you as an architect, I know where you're coming from, and I know where the applicant's coming from, but I'm coming from a different point, in terms of the loss of a certain amount of historic charm when we deal with homes which are very old and they're allowed to expand. And so, anyway, just
It's
a
an
comment
interesting
because
perspective, and I
Say
appreciate,
again?
it's an interesting perspective, and I appreciate the commentary. From the architectural standpoint, having a harmonious addition, having something that
I know they teach you that in architect school. When you're doing historic preservation, if it's truly a National Register property, okay, you have to separate the addition. When you look at a truly historic home, okay, you want to know what the historic home was, what the original home is, and the addition. Now, the addition doesn't have to be super modern, okay, but there's a distinction. This commission spends a great deal of time with certain applications insisting that they separate the new from the old. And we've lost it here. It's gone. So, that's it from my perspective.
Just if I
Any
could-
member of the public wish to speak for or against the application? Nope. Yes.
I'm Bill Horrocks. I live in the Old Village in a contributing structure. And, I wanted to congratulate the applicant, our friend Bibi Seymour, and the architect here, Mr. Muldoon, for an absolutely super job. I think this is one of the best applications I've ever seen, and well illustrated. You can tell what you changed and what was left. All the work, the new work is in the back, so it doesn't really affect the streetscape at all. You can barely see that area going down Water Street, so that's fine. And I've always felt that one of the important things that this commission needs to care about is the situations where there's an alteration in the setting, which affects the historic character, which clearly this does not. Now, I sort of believe with the chair here, it's sort of nice to separate the old part and keep it exactly like it was and have something new. And we actually, we came before this committee back in 2005, and the historic portion of our house was the only thing which was on the property in 2000, when we bought it in 1994, was a 420 square foot half cape house, which would have been, it was historic because it was made out of a barn which was built in 1825. Now, and when I decided that I wanted to retire to Chatham, 420 feet wasn't really enough to retire into, so we needed more space. So I wanted to build another separate, standalone, modest cottage. And of course, that wasn't allowed because we were only allowed one drilling on one property, which is a big problem sometimes.
Uh-oh.
But we got the idea that we could build basically a standalone one-bedroom cottage. We had connected it to the 420 square foot old cottage by a breezeway. So the old cottage was absolutely unchanged except touching a breezeway, and we got a little bit more space and can live there in a lot we like in this commission. I'm not sure there were any members from that era, but here now. But you approved all of that because there are cases where you can't really add to something old and keep the old part. But I think you did very well with what you did. This Barzilla Harding House is, of course, one of about 200 contributing structures in the Old Village. I'm a member of the board of directors of the Old Village Association, and we had a meeting last week, and some of the other members had read this, seen this application, and most everybody seemed to be very pleased with it. Good. So I think it's a textbook example of an application. Maybe it could be given to future applicants of people who have really historic houses and use that as a model. So anyway, I wanted to congratulate Mr.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point, no other comments. We have a number of motions which we need to execute. Bob?
Let's finish up the chapter 158, because
Yes.
we did the historical significance. And under that part of it, Historical Commission also finds the proposed work to be done dated March 15th, 2024, will not materially diminish the historic significance of the building, and therefore the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
Second, please?
Second.
Second, thank you very much. Any other comments? Okay, we're going to do a roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes,
Janet?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay?
Under the Cape Cod Commission Act, I move this Chatham Historical Commission confirms that the dwelling located at 89 Water Street is a contributing structure in the National Historic Register District.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? All right, roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes,
Janet?
Yes,
Robert?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. One more.
Move the Chatham Historical Commission also finds the materials presented this date showed that the proposed alterations and additions and renovations do not constitute a substantial alteration to the contributing structure located in an NHRD, and therefore referral to the Cape Cod Commission for review is not necessary.
second.
Second, thank you very much. Janet's on the ball today. Okay, we're going to take a quick roll call if there are no other comments. Bob?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Stephanie?
yes.
Janet?
Yes,
Robert?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Thank you. Is this your property, miss? No. Okay. I work with SB. Okay. SB, okay, I just wanted, okay.
Thank you for your time, really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Appreciate it. Okay, we, just quickly, under, there's no new business, old business. Just a reminder, when the Preservation Awards activity, if you could get your RSVP in to the invitation which you have, we appreciate it. I've already had a couple of people ask me for homes for next year, but we probably, you know, we've gotten in the road of skipping a year. So I think, you know, I know it's not, you know, we don't have 5 or 10 applications, but we do appreciate the fact, and I think the applicants do appreciate the fact of the recognition, so we will proceed on that May 18th event, we will. Just quickly, the Nickerson Family Association and the potential eligibility for National Register. Staff, in fact, is proceeding with the necessary contractual relationship for PAL, so we can proceed to submit that request for a determination of eligibility of the Nickerson Family Association site. There is the Coast Guard Boathouse is moving along. They just actually, I think, issued a contract for the work on the bulkhead. Now that the dredging is done, which is all preparation for the boathouse coming back, so it's a big deal. Actually, the selectmen tonight are going to be having some discussion on that, because there's some concern relative to the cost of the project, which is welcome to the club. And, you know, you wait long enough, price goes up. So that still continues, and I hope that I know myself and other members of the commission will continue to support the bringing back of that historic structure back to the Stage Harbor. I don't think we have anything new on the current status of the demolition delays, Annie? Nothing's changed significant? We have no correspondence. Steph, relative to your comment, you know, if we just take a second, because it's a relatively short meeting, Monomoy Theater property, it's, the trial, I think, is beginning soon, which will hopefully determine whether or not the applicant gets permission to build those, the houses he wants. And right now, if he does get permission to build the houses, he is committed to continue the restoration and return the theater. There's a lot of discussion about that. Those two properties, other than the theater and the Washington Taylor home, are both in the historic business district. So there's no way those properties are going to be demolished, okay? He's going to have to restore them, and he's fully committed to restoring them. The question is, what do you restore them as? The current plan that he spoke to was to restore the Washington Taylor home to a residence of some kind, you know, or if a theater situation exists, he would be part of the theater situation. And then if he was able to get the homes approved, then he would proceed with some kind of a plan to have some kind of a theater there. If not, then the old theater would turn into some kind of a commercial property, which he literally, you know, that's what the zoning is. That's what he could do. So, you know, it's a difficult situation. We're kind of both sides of the street on that one. You know, we talked about the 75-year threshold review, which Mr. Burlingame brought up, we talked about the issue of, if you look at, I don't want to read them all off, but given the issues on hold, are there any that you as members would like to pursue? I mean, other than our perennial demolition by neglect, which I keep getting assured by staff, once they get a planner back on board, they will continue to work on that. So that, to me personally, is the next priority that I think we should work, and I think it needs to be done. But I'm just wanting, it's not my choice, it's our choice. If there are other applications that we have discussed in the past and on hold that you would like to bring forward for discussion, other than the demolition?
Frank, did you send us the article about the town that was doing finding? That was wonderful.
Yeah, yeah.
Annie,
A lot of communities are very aggressive
Annie said,
in terms of dealing with it.
it was in the New York.
And I become, you drive around town and you see houses, you say, oh, there's a number of homes in Chatham, which are going, just by the fact that there's no maintenance. And some of them are extremely historic, or at least they're worthy of a consideration. So I guess, not hearing, I'm going to move the demolition by neglect up, if you will, to, and then I'll talk to Katie about it, so one, they can hire some staff, and we'll thank you, we'll begin to look into that. I mean, the way we left it with Ryan Christenberry, the former
Planner.
principal planner, was that she felt the best way to approach this was for us to make a change to the chapter 158 to somehow incorporate some motion as it relates to demolition by neglect. So, the jury's still out. We still have a lot of work to do. It's not going to happen. It's like when we did the other bylaw, about the historic preservation with the zoning. It took about 3 years, so nothing happens fast. So, but I think we want to just not forget about it. And that's why I keep issuing issues on hold. That there are good ideas that we've had, but we just don't have the personnel or the staff to look into it. All right, there's nothing else? Okay, motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting on April 16th, 2024.
Thank you.
Second?
Second? All right. No comment? Bob?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming. Good job. And